Hello students, welcome to Medical 360. If you're an MBBS aspirant, this is very good news for you. The Ministry of Health and Family Welfare just announced a massive number of increase in seats which will help you get into a right medical college as you move along in the next years. About 43 new medical colleges were established in 25-26 in the last previous year. And the total number of seats that they added is 11,682 for MBBS and 8,967 for PG seats. From this 43, this is the kind of addition that you had. And besides that, there are another 157 medical colleges approved under the centrally sponsored scheme. I'll also talk about that. So of this 43 colleges that you have at this point in time, as I told you, most of them, including AIIMS and INS, you actually had about 8,967 seats added in the PG. And more importantly, for the UG students, it is 11,682 seats that were added. And you should know that NMC typically every year invites applications for people who want to establish new medical colleges or have an increased capacity within their existing facilities because the infrastructure has increased to that extent. And based on the NMC policy, they are inspected, assessed, and then an approval or disapproval is given for the increase or even for the existing ones also. At times, there are seats that are taken away because the infra is not good. So what we are seeing at this point in time, these 43 medical colleges are those that have been inspected, assessed, and an increase granted also. So to that extent, very clearly, so many number of seats are going to increase in the coming years so that you have a better chance of getting into MBBS. And of course, NEET PG, MD also. The other thing the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare announced is there is a centrally sponsored scheme. What is the centrally sponsored scheme? If you're a northeastern state, 90% of the, for the establishment of a medical college and a medical hospital, in those areas where there is no hospital or college, the government of India steps in and starts creating that infrastructure and in establishing a medical hospital and a medical college. And there, the share between the state and the center is 90% for center and 10% for state, if it's a northeastern state, and 60% by the center and 40% by the state, if it's anything other than northeastern states. In that process, another 157 medical colleges have been sanctioned with a total outlay of 41,332 crores. Massive amount of money being invested. Of this 41,332 crores, already 23,246 crores has been already released by the central government. And that is very important, which means that central government is supposed to pay about 26,700 crores, of which 23,000 is already released, which also means that we can hope that some of these colleges also will come for the admission cycle as you move along. And mind you, there are 157 medical colleges. And how do they do that? They actually do it through the establishment of new medical colleges attached with existing district/referral hospitals. So you already have a district hospital or a referral hospital. There you attach a medical college, so that the learning also happens along with the district medical hospital or the referral hospital that you have. And there they are upgrading those referral hospitals or district hospitals to a medical college also, where the state versus center expense sharing is 60% for the center and 40% for the states in the case of all states. And in the case of northeastern states, it is 90% by the center and 10% by the states. And this is typically done only in those places where there are very little medical hospitals or medical referral hospitals, so that the infrastructure can actually work and then you will have more people working there. Over the past years, when you see, the number of medical colleges that are being opened up is dramatically increasing. I remember about 10 years back, the total number of seats was 55,000. And we're likely to look at about 1.25 lakh seats come the following year. In the next year, you'll be seeing about 1.25 lakh kind of seats. In fact, in the year 25-26, 80 proposals were received by the government of India to establish a medical hospital or increase the capacity of an existing medical college, and 43 were approved. So more than 50%, more than half the things were approved. In 24-25, they approved 74 of them when they received 112 applications. In the previous year, in 23-24, 86 applications were received and 54 were approved. So the progress that the government of India is making in terms of expanding their capacity for medical college, medical hospitals, and medical doctors is doing extremely well because of the kind of establishment of so many medical colleges and hospitals that is happening in the country. In fact, when we looked at data over the past 5 years, right, some states have performed exceedingly well in terms of increasing their capacities, exceedingly well, right? And the state that tops the bill is Telangana. In Telangana, in 21-22, there were 34 hospitals. And in 25-26, there are 66, which means almost they have doubled their number of medical colleges in the state. In fact, even in numerical terms, the number of entries, which is 32, is the highest across the country. followed by, Maharashtra increased by 23 medical colleges, UP increased by 21 medical colleges, and so on and so forth. But Telangana almost doubled. From 32 it went up to 66. And even in Assam, there were only 8 medical colleges in 21-22, which has now become 16, which means they've actually doubled. Whereas Delhi is the biggest laggard here because they had 10 medical colleges in 21-22, which has increased to only 11 in 25-26. Followed by Jharkhand, which had 9 and has increased to 10. So Delhi and Jharkhand seem to be the laggards, and Telangana is right up there, followed by Maharashtra and then followed by Uttar Pradesh. But over the years, if you see, most of the states have increased their capacities by about 50% to 100%, with, of course, Assam and Telangana leading the charge. And you also have some of the laggards, which is Delhi, Jharkhand and all, which have increased by about 10-15% only, for whatever reasons. Whether the approvals are not sanctioned or whether they did not even apply for an approval is something that we don't know. But very clearly, again, when I see Delhi, I can very clearly understand that, when you don't have a law to, enable or allow private institutions to establish private educational institutions, then you'll suffer because it's only on the state to establish that. And that becomes a challenge because then you're depending on budgetary constraints, and this will always be a laggard. But having said that, the good news for all the medical college students, students who want to pursue MBBS and MD in this country, is that you already have about 11,682 seats established in MBBS and about 8,967 seats added in PG seats also. And moving forward with this 157 medical colleges that are likely to come, because the money is already released, which means that they're very close to completion. We are hoping that some of these colleges also will join in terms of admission cycle 26-27, because of which we'll see a lot more medical seats available for MBBS and MD. I hope this helps you. Thank you so much. Namaste.